get a 20-second warning to wrap up, and then there will be, it says a bell, but there won't be a bell.
I'll be
screaming, and that will be followed by an abrupt back of the head slap like Gibbs would give. I'll give that to you. All candidates are going to answer the same question, so we'll go down the line. All candidates will get a 1-minute opening, and you'll get a 1-minute closing. And so that's kind of the ground rules. The questions I still don't have.
Yes.
So they are seriously sealed.
We need
this
to
is like the
have
Oscars.
Marion Sheridan, who has full responsibility with the questions. Please take them to Sheriff Bouchard. This is official business here.
They're coming from the Oscars.
Marion and her husband, along with the Greater West Bloomfield Republican Board,
Brad Pitt. Oh, no.
we're the ones that created the questions. And Sheriff, what I didn't mention is we're going to go until about 8:25. Okay?
Okay.
And we just want to make sure we know who the 40 district candidates are and the 39. So please make sure you know your candidates.
And according to the rules laid out before me, we have a 2-minute remarks from Kathy Burness on behalf of Robert Lawrence, who couldn't be here because he was at a school board meeting. So I guess you get the floor.
Yes.
For 2 minutes.
Right.
And go.
Well, first I want to thank Janine and the members from the Greater West Bloomfield Republicans for hosting this forum tonight on the first anniversary and for allowing me to speak on behalf of Rob Lawrence. He is a trustee on the Birmingham board, and we're undergoing a superintendent search, so he's interviewing 2 candidates tonight, and 2 of which are from out of state, so it could be a good thing. So with that, I will read his statement. We have the opportunity tonight to continue a strong tradition of Republican representation in Lansing from the 40th District and reclaim the tradition in the 39. All candidates that you hear from tonight share the values highlighted in your invitation: less government, lower taxes, and personal responsibility. What sets us apart are the life experiences we bring to the table while promoting those shared values. I come from a background of nearly 20 years of commercial lending experience at National Bank of Detroit, Penske Financial Services, and National City Bank. My professional career has been focused on helping businesses grow locally, statewide, and across the country. As CFO of the Michigan Security Network, a nonprofit organization focused on attracting private sector, homeland defense, and security jobs to Michigan, I've worked to help diversify Michigan's economy. Over 9 years as elected school board member, I've helped to trim $30 million from school budgets while focusing on programs and classroom resources. I'm also helping local schools and municipalities manage their operating resources as a trustee of the $1.5 billion Michigan Liquid Asset Fund. My focus on education and the economy has led me to believe we can build opportunities in Michigan by being smarter, quicker, and more strategic in our policy framework. I want to reverse the trend of exporting our valuable resource, our graduating children. These talented kids chase opportunities in other states that can attract and grow diverse industries. We can make Michigan the first choice by continued regulatory tax and policy reforms that attract and promote new investment in Michigan by individuals and companies. This will lead to opportunities, new choices, and stronger growth for everyone. We can strengthen our educational system by implementing smarter accountability measures, promoting rational cost-saving initiatives, and supporting core literacies that leverage new tools and teaching methods. We're all blessed to live in communities that value education, and having lived in the trenches, I understand what works, and I will bring that knowledge to the table to raise the bar for everyone. In short, we can build opportunities with the support of sound business policies and high expectations for our entire pre-K through collegiate educational system. Together, we can strengthen Michigan for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll begin the actual questions. I will read them as written from Price Waterhouse or whoever it was. We'll
opening statements.
Yes. No, we'll get the open statements. But what I'm going to get to is I'll read them exactly as they are. Then we're going to move from right to left, of course. And then from closing, we'll go back the other way. So with opening, we're starting on this side, and you are up.
I'm Dave Potts. I'm elected county official. I'm a county commissioner. I've been doing this for a while. I may be the only one that can really talk about having accomplished some significant financial activity. I've been involved with Brooks's budget, about $750 million. We balanced it 3 years in a row. We balanced it out. I have been involved and taken 3 voluntary pay cuts. I don't turn in mileage. I don't go on seminars. I don't do anything unless I think that it's worthy and I pay for it myself. My theme is put government on a diet, and I think I know how to do that. I'll tell you about it when I close. But I'm interested in telling you at this point. I consulted with Dr. David Litton of the Mackinac Center. We have developed 4 specific areas that we think we can save significant money. I'll tell you about $8 billion a year when I get to my closing. But I want to tell you who supports me at this point. John Engler, Brooks Patterson, Chuck Moss, Rocky Bullard, and 220 people so far have endorsed my candidacy. Most of the public officials in the district.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Pretty good. My name is Mike McCready. I'm currently a city commissioner in Bloomfield Hills. I'm the past mayor. I'm also serving currently as mayor pro tem. I'm a small business owner in Birmingham, Michigan. I've lived in the Bloomfield Hills city for 16 years with my wife and our 2 daughters who are now 10 and 15. I look at our state government as finally making some progress over the last year. We all recognize that. And we need to elect people that are going to keep moving our state forward. We need to mimic the state employees, what's going on in the private sector today. I'm a businessman. I want you to send me to Lansing. And as you learn more about me, I think you'll be encouraged. You can go to my website at McCreadyForStateRep.com and learn more. And there's a way to contact me through it. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thanks for moderating this event. Thank you to Janine for putting this together. Thank you all for coming. You know, I've been in West Bloomfield for about 10 years, and every year or two we try and start a club, and it always fails. And what Janine and all of you have done with this club is really amazing, and I look forward to being involved for many years to come in our continued growth. I'm David Wilkinson, and I'm running for the State House to make Michigan the best place in the world to do business so we can bring jobs here and give young people a chance to stay. You know, until Brad started running, I thought I was the young guy running for office. But, you know, Commissioner Potts had some interesting remarks. I'm not the candidate of the establishment. I think you guys can tell who is. I'm running to go to Lansing to shake things up. And I think that we need to make this the best place in the world to do business. And that's what my campaign's all about. And I look forward to discussing how we're going to do that. Thank you.
Alrighty, we'll get into the questions, which are questions are 1 minute. And the first question is, we'll start on this side, go this way, and then we'll switch back so no one has to be last or first each time. What do you bring to this office that separates you from the other candidates?
Well, I think I'm a candidate with the energy and the experience to hit the ground running day one and to be a leader in Lansing. I've got 3 degrees from Michigan, bachelor's and master's in economics and a law degree. I used to joke, I used to work with Chris Snyder, I was the policy director of his campaign. I used to joke that I was the unsuccessful version of him. And he'd say, well, why do you say you're unsuccessful? I said, well, one of us ran a Fortune 500 company, and it wasn't me. And he said, well, you haven't run one yet. He's an optimist. And I think my background and my experience really separate me. There's not a single legislator today with a bachelor's and master's in economics. There's not a single legislator who worked as the policy director for the governor, a governor who's begun to work to bring the state along the lines of what I'm talking about, to make this the best place in the world to do business. So I think that I have a unique background in private sector experience as an attorney for 6 years, as well as a background in public policy working on these types of issues. And I look forward to getting the specifics in the limited time we have left.
I've been a single business owner, small business. I'm a sub-S corporation for over 21 years. Prior to that, I worked for a large corporation out of West Michigan in a commercial furniture business. I've been serving on our city commission for almost 10 years, first on the zoning board of appeals and then as a city commissioner. I've gone to understand about operating a business in a difficult climate, paying taxes, and what that old single business tax used to do to us. I understand now with the new business tax system. It's very encouraging for business. It'll bring it to state. It'll bring business to the state. We're now addressing the personal property tax issue. We do need to address that. When you talk about hiring people, I've hired people, I've fired people. I understand where we need to go with our infrastructure in the state of Michigan. It needs to be developed. I understand people don't want to pay for it, but it has to happen. It's part of being in business. And the other aspect is our children. We need to educate our children. We got to make sure we're
Time.
Thank you. David?
Well, I think the most important thing is the audit of experience, integrity, honor, and accomplishments. In my run-up to being a public official, I did things in my community. I was president of the American Heart Association in this community. I was a member of the board of directors of the Kidney Foundation. I've been the board of directors of the community house in Birmingham, and I was very actively involved, chairman of the board of my congregation, my church, Christ Church Cranbrook. So I don't think you ought to denigrate what people have done. You ought not to suggest when you haven't done anything. I think you ought to merit and look at people, what they have accomplished, what they've done in the way of community involvement before they sought public office, which is a service opportunity. It's not a career. It's not a place to start. It's not a place to do something. It's when you have value, you want to give it. You want to do something with what you've got. I think I've got the experience, the credentials, the passion, and the independence. Nobody owns me. Nobody will. I don't need the job. I'm a public servant. I've demonstrated that historically through my career.
Time.
Thinking of the different professional jobs you've held, what achievement are you most proud of?
Well, I'm a lawyer by training and practice, and an economist by education. The thing I'm most proud of, before I launch into something else, is my family. My wife, Wendy, who's a circuit judge. My two girls, both of them have graduated from college with high academics, first from Michigan, and the other from Indiana. My daughter, Kelly, is a lawyer but lives in Chicago, which is a problem for me because she had to go there to find a job. And I'm concerned about that. But anecdotally, I was general counsel and vice president of the Detroit Lions. In that position, I got to know Barry Sanders. Barry had a little problem down in Oklahoma, so I was tasked to go with him and to come back to the first exhibition game. So I took Barry Sanders to my home, and he wanted to have something to eat. So I said, raid the kitchen. My daughter came down and said, what is Barry Sanders doing in our kitchen? She could not connect the dots. So we went down to Oklahoma. I helped his lawyers, which was not my responsibility, and the two of us climbed in a corporate jet, which was to take us from Oklahoma City to Indianapolis, where we were to play our first preseason game. There's no way to get to Oklahoma except by a corporate jet. That was an experience.
Probably when you establish your own business and you hire people and everybody flourishes and we're all forced to pay taxes, you know you're doing something good. When you sit on a city commission and you balance your budget and you make improvements with the infrastructure of your city and you're successful in that, you're recognized for it, those are great accomplishments. However, being a father by far is the best accomplishment I've ever had. My daughter is an honor student at Marion High School. I'm very proud of that. She loves to play sports. I'm out there playing basketball with her, playing softball. I get to play field hockey with her to practice. Those are great accomplishments. My youngest daughter, who's in 4th grade, well, she's a fighter, and she's not as good a student, but we're bound and determined. So we got to stay with that one, but there's always hope, and that'll be my best accomplishment yet.
I'm an attorney in private practice. I've had the opportunity to represent clients on a variety of matters, and I'm really proud of working on closing deals for some of them, representing them, others in litigation. I've also been involved in a variety of businesses in the private sector. I've had the great joy of hiring people, and unfortunately I've had to fire people when they haven't performed adequately. But I've always believed that a life not lived in the service of others is a life not lived. We're here to make a difference. And the accomplishment professionally that I'm most proud of is the role that I played as a senior staffer and policy director for Rick Snyder and his campaign. I joined the campaign in what Rick likes to call the margin of error days. That's when he was lower in the polls in the margin of error. In fact, my friend Frank DeHaco was here. He joined with me at that time. And we did it because we believed that Michigan didn't just need to be fixed, it needed to be reinvented. And I'm proud of the work I did in helping elect him and in all the good work he's doing in Lansing.
Okay, this time we're going to start, if you David, go back the other direction. What would be the top 3 items on your to-do list during the first 100 days in office, and why?
Well, I've said my priority is how do we make this the best place in the world to do business, to bring jobs here, and give young people a chance to stay. I've got 2 sisters. They're 33 and 28. They both have Ivy League educations. Neither of them live here. And you know why they don't live here? Because there's no jobs. And unfortunately, that's a pretty common story. So my campaign and my interest in serving is all about how we can make this the best place in the world to do business. So in the next 28 seconds, I'll quickly tell you the 3 top things we need to do. 1, Commissioner McGreedy alluded to this, we got rid of the NBT. That brought in $2.3 billion. We replaced it with a flat 6% corporate income tax. That brings in $278 million. That's less than 1% of the state budget. Let's get rid of it. Go to 0. That's the kind of thing that will attract businesses to move here and bring jobs here. Get rid of the CIT, go to right to work, and start reversing our regulatory structure. Get rid of regulations that inhibit investment and job growth in Michigan.
The administration and the legislature has done so much for our state in the last year than we could ever have imagined. We are moving in the right direction. Right now, with the new tax structure on C corporations, it's a good situation. Most companies that start today are an LLC. Not too many go to a C corporation unless they're real big. The next issue right now, it's on everybody's plate, is the PPT, private property tax. That has to really be looked at under the microscope. It's a good idea. We're one of the only states that do it. It's prohibitive for companies to move in to have to pay that, especially in the manufacturing sector. However, in a small community like, say, Bloomfield Hills, it's $240,000 in lost revenue, but to a town like, or a city like Warren, it has devastating effects. So we have to find out before we make changes like that exactly what's going to happen and how we're going to help those communities make up for that lost revenue.
I think it's something more than talk about grandiose platitudes. You have to figure out how you can be an effective legislator. And one of the things you need to know is what kind of committee assignments it have to your personality, what works for you, what can you do, how do you become effective? I think that's an important component. I think the ability to work in compromise. Compromise is part of legislation, part of legislature. That's not a bad word. You have to be effective before you can do anything. You can't pass legislation unless you understand how to work with people. I think I have a history of that. I'm not going to apologize for the fact that I think it's okay to talk to people on the other side of the aisle. I don't agree with them. They're not bad. They go home, they love their children. They're just misguided. We have to do something about how they can find the direction. But I believe in small government reform. Government needs to be put on a diet. And I think if I get into a position on either the Appropriations Committee, which I see, or the Judiciary Committee, where I have some expertise, and so does my wife, I think I can be helpful and I can be an effective legislator in that regard.
The next question, do you believe that references to international law should be taken into consideration when adjudicating a case? I guess as the moderator, I'll amend this because you're not going to be adjudicating cases. You're not running for the judiciary. You're going to be writing law. So do you believe that references in the laws that you would seek to write, amend, or support should take into consideration international statutes?
Well, let me digress for a moment. I think this is aimed at a concept called Sharia law, and it's a sense that they're trying to substitute American law and to impose the use of a foreign law in our legal system. Surprise, we have hundreds of components of foreign law in our own system. We have all kinds of international law and conflicts that are resolved in our legal system. So the concept of foreign law in American jurisprudence is not something that's foreign. You can look back as far as the Constitution when we framed the original principles. Some of these were founded on some principles that came from England and France. So the integration of concepts is not inappropriate and it's historical. The substitution of Sharia law or any other law in lieu of our system, absolutely not. It's a threat. And we have another threat. That's the law of the seas treaty that this president's trying to push, which will cede sovereignty over the sea lanes. It's a horrible issue, and we need to deal with it.
You can listen to them and let them give you your argument. but at the end, you're gonna say no. We have our laws to follow in our country, and we have traditions, I think, that we have to follow. As mayor and mayor pro tem, we have the ability to marry people that will come into City Hall. And I always said no, because I didn't feel I was trained or understood why they were coming in until I started looking at the names of the people coming in. I couldn't pronounce the names. So I just feel that there's been too many people who try and undermine our system, our democracy, and I would not participate in it.
I didn't really follow those last couple answers, but here's my position. I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe in American exceptionalism. I think we are exceptional, and in many ways, but most especially in the following. Every country has its foundational myth, and they're built on people. Kings, rulers, all kinds of people. We're a little different. Our country was started based on our Constitution, our common shared set of values. I think our Constitution works great, and I don't think we need to make any amendments to it to include any foreign influences. That pretty much sums up my view on it.
As I look at the clock, you said you wanted to end at 25 after, so we're running out of time. So I'm going to take a little.
I'd say we could probably do another round.
I'm going to take a little chair authority here, since you only got 4 questions out of 10
got the
done.
gun.
So you only got 4 questions out of 10 done. So I'm thinking about 4 of the remaining we can boil down to what I will affectionately call the lightning round. So we're going to go for 10-second answers. They're basically yes or no, or what your particular position are on 4 of these questions. So then at least you get a quicker flavor on some of these issues that I think are important to you. So in the lightning round, we'll be starting at this end. Are you for or against right to work?
I'm for right to work, and there was one guy who ran for governor who talked about it extensively, and that was you, and I think we should all give him a round of applause for that.
Yes, I am in favor of right to work.
Yes, I am, but the governor's not, so I'm going to go with me.
I am in favor of right to work.
I am in favor of right to work, but I don't want it to be a distraction in order to get jobs going.
I am in favor of right to work.
I am in favor. I'm in favor as well.
I will work to make Michigan the right to work state.
All right, and start this in. Brad will come back to the second question in the ever-exciting lightning round. Do you support Governor Snyder's quest to build a government-funded international crossing to Canada? Yes or no?
I do not.
No.
No. I support the bridge. The location funding is up in the air.
I support the bridge, and if there's a private taxpayer that wants to do it, then yes.
The answer to your question is no.
In answer to your question, no. I have another comment on that in my 10 seconds. I'm not sure any bridge is needed. If you listen to John Papageorge, he's saying that only 40% capacity of the bridge is used now. So if the Canadians would open the toll booths at their end, we'd be okay.
It's more of a border patrol problem.
Yeah.
You know how many laws need to be changed for an individual in the private sector to build another bridge? We don't need any more laws on that. I think it's pretty good. So the answer is no.
The next question is worded, what is your stance on women's right to choose? I'll start this one.
I'm pro-life. I think abortion is akin to murder. I don't think anyone should do murder. I don't think I have a right to do it. I don't think anyone does. So I'm pro-life 100%.
I'm pro-life, and I only believe if it's in jeopardy of the mother's life or health that should be taken into consideration.
I'm pro-life. I met with Right to Life yesterday. I hope we're talking about right to choose as opposed to some other area of activity that women can do. In this instance, I think that's a suggested question.
Probably the last question, then we'll go to the wrap-ups, is do you support the implementation of the healthcare exchanges which was passed by the Senate and is now currently held up in the House? So do you support the exchange implementation? Yes or no?
It's not an easy yes, no. No to Obamacare. This may have to be established so that we can facilitate the attack on Obamacare. So we have to examine what the consequences are so we can gut Obamacare and pray for the Supreme Court.
Well, can we repeat the question one more time?
Where do you stand in regards to implementation of healthcare exchanges which was passed in the Michigan Senate but is currently held up in the House?
I'll have to read up on it more. I couldn't give you a good answer at this point.
No, it's before the Supreme Court right now. I'm 100% opposed to Obamacare. It's an extreme overreach of the government. And until the Supreme Court says that it's constitutional, which I don't think they're going to, we have no reason to be passing enabling legislation. So 100% no.
All right, with that, we'll start with your 1 minute close. We'll reverse the order from the opening. And thank you, Chris. 1 minute.
Well, you know, this was a lot of fun. I think we would benefit back and forth, and I think it'd be a good idea to do this again. So I hope you guys will join me. Maybe we can do one in every city. This will be the West Bloomfield one. And maybe we can do one in Bloomfield Hills and in the township. My campaign is very simple. It's about how do we make this the best place in the world to do business. I spoke for about 10 seconds about the big idea of my campaign that I wrote an op-ed about in the Detroit News. You can all see it. Go to davidwilkinson.com. It's up there. And that's about getting rid of the corporate income tax. One of my opponents thought that was a platitude. I don't think it's a platitude. I think that's a serious policy idea of how we can make this the best place in the world to do business. Illinois is a 9.5% corporate income tax. Let's give Mike Finney, the director of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, let's give him the ammunition to go to Chicago and to make his case to these businesses why if they move to Michigan, they get a 9.5% profit bump. How do you think you would take that if you were a public shareholder in a company? You'd be calling the board of directors and demanding that they move to Michigan. And that's exactly what will happen. So I don't think it's a platitude. I think it's an idea about how to bring jobs here so we can give young people a chance to stay.
We have done so much, there's been so much done in the state of Michigan over the last year. It's incredible. We need to keep moving in this direction. We're doing the right thing. We need to bring job creation. We're moving in the right direction. The next issue is we need to invest in our infrastructure. You have to continue to invest in your infrastructure. It's literally, we're probably behind a little bit on that. We need to get into that. I know people don't want to pay for it, but it has to happen. The other area is education. We have to continue to educate our children. We have to have the funds to do that. We have to make sure that we're spending money on the education and not on health care and pension benefits for the people who work in the system. That's very important. Those would be my 3 top priorities going into Lansing. I hope you'll support me. I hope you go to McCreadyforStateRep.com. And thank you all. I think everybody in the room was introduced, but maybe 3 people. So it's been a great evening.
Thank you. I really would like to thank the folks in West Bloomfield for doing this. And Janine, you've done a remarkable job with your staff. So I appreciate the opportunity to come and share concerns. I told you when I made my opening statement or opening comment that I would give you some very specific things on how I thought we could do something to talk about specifics in what we can do to cut Michigan's size, put Michigan on diet, reduce. And that's as a result of consulting with Dr. David Littman at the Mackinac Center. We ought to do something that can save us $5.7 billion a year. And that's to equalize the relationship between private business and state government when it comes to pension and health care. And to eliminate, number 2, eliminate prevailing wage. Michigan is one of 4 states that we should join Texas with the other 45 to get together and eliminate the prevailing wage. The third is so simple. We have to do centralized purchasing for our 15 universities. We got to warehouse common needs for them, not to have them do their own purchasing. And the fourth is we ought to concentrate on repairing and restoring our roads and infrastructure, not new ventures.
I thank all the people that participated, certainly the folks that put it on. It takes a lot to put yourself and your family through a campaign, so congratulations to all.